After acquiring Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea, the treble winners have been heavily linked with another Croatian in Joško Gvardiol, and it's easy to see why Pep Guardiola is such a fan of the 21-year-old defender. Multiple reports have been suggesting that Manchester City are looking to acquire the services of RB Leipzig's highly rated centre-back, with whispers claiming personal terms have already been agreed between both parties. However, Gvardiol has a release clause in excess of £97 million, which cannot be triggered until next summer. With the defender contracted until 2027, Leipzig boast a strong position in the negotiations, and it's going to cost the European champions a pretty penny if they want to land the defender this summer. Nevertheless, City do have the financial power to meet the German side's valuation should they deem Gvardiol worthy, and frankly, it's easy to see why they're interested. Born in Zagreb, Gvardiol's footballing education began with lower league side NK Transievka, whom he joined at the age of 6. He would spend only 2 years with them as Croatian giants Dinamo Zagreb enrolled him into their famed academy system in 2010. Though he preferred playing basketball in his early teens, Gvardiol soon realized his true talents lay in football, with his physicality and ability on the ball allowing him to seamlessly climb through the ranks at Croatia's most successful club. The likes of Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, and Dani Olmo have passed through Dinamo's academy in recent years, and Joško showed more than enough as a schoolboy to suggest he will be spoken about in similar terms as his more high-profile predecessors. Gvardiol was first included in Dinamo's first-team squad at the start of the 2018-19 season, with the then 17-year-old named on the bench for the first 4 games of the campaign despite never having kicked a ball for the club's B team, who play in Croatia's second division. He eventually dropped down to gain some experience in senior football, but after just 3 appearances in the second tier, he was promoted back to the first team, for whom he made his debut in October 2019 as a late substitute. Quick fun fact, he was nicknamed Little Pep by his teammates due to the similarity between his surname and Pep Guardiola's. The nickname was even more fitting in his younger years, with Gvardiol first playing in central midfield before Zagreb youth coach Dalibor Holdugrac moved him back into the heart of the defense. By late 2019, the young centre-back was being linked with the likes of Real Madrid, Juventus, Chelsea, Inter, and Man City after a fine run of performances in the UEFA Youth League. Consequently, Dinamo had little choice but to offer him more first-team opportunities. Named as one of the Guardian's 60 next-generation European footballers ahead of the 2019-20 campaign, Gvardiol featured a total of 11 times in the league that year as Dinamo clinched the title. He also got his first taste of UEFA Champions League football at the start of the 2020-21 season, with 2 qualifying matches as Zagreb were knocked out in the third round by Hungarian club Ferencváros. Later on in that season, it will be revealed that the then 18-year-old Gvardiol had chosen to join German club RB Leipzig from the start of the 21-22 season. His debut campaign in one of Europe's top 5 leagues quickly illustrated his high ceiling. He made 46 appearances across all competitions for Leipzig, dominating in defense while also chipping in with 2 goals and helping his side lift the DFB Cup. He became a full Croatia international, making his senior debut in a 1-0 friendly defeat to Belgium in June 2021 after being substituted on at halftime. A week later, Gvardiol earned his first start for the national team in a 1-0 defeat to England in Croatia's opening game of Euro 2020. At the age of 19 years, 4 months, and 21 days, Gvardiol became the youngest ever player to play for Croatia at a major tournament, surpassing, you guessed it, Man City's new man, Mateo Kovacic. His second season at Leipzig, which is the now recently concluded 22-23 campaign, saw him rack 41 appearances, again excelling and lifting his second domestic trophy as Leipzig retained the DFB Pokal. The centre-back scored twice in the Champions League, first in a famous 3-2 win over Real Madrid in the group stage, and then in a 1-0 first-leg draw with potential employers City in the round of 16. Aged 21 years and 30 days, he became the youngest Croatian player ever to score in a Champions League knockout phase. In between, Gvardiol started every game during his country's run to the semi-finals and eventually bronze in the 2022 World Cup in November, memorably scoring the opening goal in Croatia's 2-1 win over Morocco. Despite being a favorite for the FIFA Young Player Award, he lost it to Argentina and Chelsea's midfielder Enzo Fernandez. In terms of profile, Gvardiol stands at 6'1", which is a decent, if unremarkable size for a central defender, yet his all-round defensive capabilities make him a tough opponent to bypass both in the air and on the ground. According to Opta via FBref, he lost just 10 of his 43 aerial duels in the league last season and failed to win just 6 of his 23 tackles on the ground. While it's crucial that any defender within Pep Guardiola's system can ultimately defend, the tactics deployed by the Catalan coach mean they must be able to provide so much more, especially on the ball. What makes him such an attractive proposition for a side like Man City is that Gvardiol is the very definition of a modern-day centre-back. He can perform all the necessary defensive tasks of a traditional defender while also providing his team with serious ball progression. Playing in a possession-dominant Leipzig side with only Bayern averaging more possession than their 58.3% last season, Gvardiol is extremely comfortable on the ball. Last season, he averaged more touches, more successful passes, and at a higher accuracy than any other Leipzig player. The fact that he's used to touching the ball upwards of 100 times per game immediately makes a transition to a similarly possession-heavy side like City more seamless. But his involvement in possession goes beyond merely circulating the ball. Deployed as the left centre-back in either a back 3 or back 4 by Leipzig coach Marco Rosa, Gvardiol is constantly looking to play forward and break opposition lines with his passing. The young Croatian made 4.4 progressive passes per 90 minutes in the Bundesliga last season, which was the 4th highest rate among fellow centre-halves. To put that figure into context, 4.4 was higher than any central defender managed in the Premier League last season and far eclipsed the rates of Ruben Dias, Nathan Ake, and Manuel Akanji. The rampant pressing in the Premier League may dampen those City numbers a little bit, but the point remains that Gvardiol is frequently looking to advance play. He also ranked extremely high for forward passes and successful passes into advanced areas of the pitch, demonstrating his exceptional passing range and vision when picking out teammates higher up the pitch. The beauty about progressive passing is that it takes opposition players out of the game and can often be used as a way to beat a press. Using tracking data from the 2022 World Cup, we can quantify Gvardiol's ability to split opposition lines. Among centre-backs at the tournament, only Rodri and John Stones completed more line-breaking passes than his 74, and each of those played for possession-dominant sides in Spain and England respectively. There is also this stat on the most distance covered through successful upfield passes, and you can see how he's still among current and ex-City players. Put simply, Gvardiol can safely pass the ball short or launch it forward into more profitable areas with equal ease. He's also more than comfortable stepping out of the defense and driving through opponents who dare to give him the space to do so. Last season in the Bundesliga, Gvardiol made just over 23 carries, which is running with the ball for 5 meters or more per 90 minutes. Besides Dayo Upamecano for Bayern, that was more carries per 90 than any other player in Germany last season. What's more, among those to play 1,250 plus minutes, only 3 players averaged more per 90 in the Premier League last season, and all of them play for the current European champions. With John Stones, Nathan Ake, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias, and Aymeric Laporte to choose from, Pep already has a wealth of talented defenders at his disposal. However, Laporte, who is one of just 2 left-footers in that group, looks likely to depart this summer. Gvardiol himself is left-footed, making him an ideal option to fill the void that would be left if City were to sell the Spain international. This left-footedness also aids Gvardiol's ability to play seamlessly on the left in either a back 3 or back 4 system. By the time City had reached the business end of last season, Pep had reimagined his backline, often lining up with 4 centre-backs across the back 4. Ake and Akanji, who are nominally centre-backs by trade, performed excellently as quote-unquote full-backs, although the reality was that they were often just wide centre-backs in Pep's 3-2 build-up. As Guardiola himself mentioned after City's title-clinching game against Chelsea, having extra centre-backs on the pitch better prepares his team to win individual duels. And this is where the addition of Gvardiol feels like a match made in heaven, because not only do you get his ability in possession, but you also get a physically dominant defender off the ball. The Croatian is quick and aggressive, which makes him a very good 1v1 defender. While he didn't have to make many tackles last season, his success rate of 73.9% was the 4th highest in the Bundesliga among all centre-halves. His pace enables him to quickly run out to the flanks to snuff out counter-attacks, and crucially for a team like City, it also means his side can continue to play a high line. As for where he'd deputize for the treble winners, Gvardiol's got the ability to play in the middle of defense as well as act as an auxiliary left back. Also, the fact that he was a central midfielder in his early youth days at Dinamo means he probably has the raw skill set to be converted into one of the midfield pivots like Pep impressively did with John Stones. Regardless of where he starts on the team sheet, Gvardiol will be exceptional if asked to play as the left centre-back in City's 3-2 build-up shape. City would be able to get extreme ball progression from him in possession without sacrificing anything on the defensive side of the ball. His athleticism would make him able to cover the ground out wide also, which is often the only way to attack against that narrow 3-2 shape. One thing the Croatian will have to work on though is the riskiness of his passing. Pep obsessively values control above everything, and while Gvardiol has the skill set to penetrate lines with his range of passing, his 74% forward passing accuracy last season came in well below City's defenders. However, he was attempting far riskier passes in Leipzig than those he will be potentially attempting under the guidance of Pep in Manchester. At just 21 years old, Joško Gvardiol's potential is already tremendous, and with Pep's trend of drastically improving a player's game, we might actually be looking at a defensive superstar in a few years to come. It's always hard to gauge what kind of tactical evolution the City boss is planning next. However, no matter which direction he takes his team next, there'd certainly be a place in his defense for the young Croatian to fit in should City finalize a move.